Thank you. Good afternoon. I'll try and make it not very sleepy because this after lunch session is not really that exciting for any speaker. So we've been asked to talk about iconic brand, and I guess I kind of took a liberty to talk about country branding. So I think before getting into talk about a few pieces of work we kind of managed to do in the last, what about like 10 years, I also like to kind of talk about where we kind of come from and what's our kind of general point of view on life. That may just kind of help us have a discussion later in terms of branding, products out of India or a brand out of India. So before getting into it, I just want to talk about how we always had maybe 60 years back, 100 years back, we had huge cultural strength and aesthetics. So look at 600 BC, we had Buddha and Enlightenment. We had great symbol of India's strength in the form of Ashoka. Of course, socialism. We had beautiful aesthetics that time. Now from that time, I don't know how we reached here. This is us celebrating cricket and Bollywood coming together. That's kind of a little strange considering we had so much strength before. And when you look at other nations, look at Japan, look at China, we always talk about China, but at a very kind of almost at a very light sort of level. Even when they do branding, look at Japanese branding, they don't lose their strength but become really iconic brands in a very short span of time. Look at Nike in China, beautiful, it's very Chinese, it's very international, but there's so much strength, But somehow we are not able to kind of package our strength and culture really that well. Look, this is what we do. We are really uncomfortable in our own skin. I won't use this and become fair, maybe not. But the interesting thing is, that's all the bit of kind of thing to kind of get ourselves worked up. But if you look at in the recent past, there are few people and few organizations, whether it's government or a private sector, are able to do interesting things, but very, very few people. I think this number, if it grows, will be really a strong country and maybe stronger brand. So this is something personally for me and for the company, we got so much culture to talk about, but we just don't package it well. Whether you look at the cultural industry, whether you look at the government, whether you look at the private sector, we just don't package our culture well. That has been a single biggest problem we have. If you look at countries like US, look at Hollywood, look at Silicon Valley. Everything is packaged so beautifully. We have Apple, we got Google. We also have companies and brands out of Bangalore which does the same thing, but we're just not able to kind of package it really sexy, package it really exciting. I think this is something we need to kind of really look and kind of learn. So there are simple rules we follow, and we kind of encourage some of our clients to kind of work with us. So one, of course, the jugaad. This I just kind of hate this word jugaad. It's good when a poor farmer or someone who's really don't have means to live well. When they do that, it's fine. But when big companies or big organizations do that as a shortcut, that's not cool. And we like to call it the Great Indian Compromise, which is just whenever we get a chance, we kind of adjust and do some kind of what they call patli gali. Then second thing is really stand for something. Don't compromise on that. Really, in the beginning of the brand building or just before launching the company, stand for something. Otherwise, after 30 years of running the company and making it a big billion-dollar company, we are suddenly oh my God, what does this company stand for? We just have no clue. Second thing is, of course, execute beautifully. It doesn't matter how good your idea is, finally, if you don't execute it well and then make like every little thing, whether it is in terms of design or sound or just pure form, whatever, it just need to be like done perfectly well. And that can only be done by just few good people, not like a big committee. And that's also been like one of the big problem I think we have as a country, you know. So in our own kind of small way, we are able to kind of do few brands or maybe like launch few companies because we've always had one or two of those really strong individuals on the other side, whether it is the government, whether it is private sector. We've had 3-4 really good people we managed to do some work with. So hopefully like I'll be able to kind of like show something which you guys will like. So one, of course, Incredible India. This I had started many years back with then Joint Secretary Mr. Amitabh Kant in the tourism department, and we managed to kind of package this piece really well, whether it is a campaign or when we do like a big like a show around the world. We managed to kind of show people actually India can, even with the government, can do something really interesting. And the problem was, this is how India used to be sold before people like Amitabh Kant came in. You know, really kind of boring. Such an exciting country, but this gentleman, of course, you know, I don't think they understand how to kind of drive a brand. So one of the things we did first thing was like actually create an icon, you know, create a symbol which can stand for something. So one, of course, you know, it's all good to say Incredible India, but finally you just need to kind of like design it well and have something which has got a certain strength. So we thought this exclamation could be something really interesting to kind of project out there, and it's something which stand for India. You know, like a lot of people that time used to kind of complain, you know, what's so incredible about India? Like, you know, you got like great tourism properties here, and also you know, like bad roads and you know, poverty and all that. But our point is that somewhere you got to start, and somewhere you got to like package things well. Somewhere you got to like do things very strongly, and the rest will kind of follow. And so if you see like some of the messaging, it's quite interesting actually. Even something like Taj Mahal, we always able to kind of tell a story, you know, or something like this. You know, not all Indians are hospitable, polite, and vegetarian. Now this piece of work was like, you know, we had an outside the UN General Assembly on the day of opening. So that's a kind of, you know, the planning and kind of strength I think India needs to kind of project when we get a chance. Then we did a bunch of things with colors, you know, like just packaging it with every possible color of India. But when there is a chance to kind of do something, like, so see the message, you know, there's a little bit of kind of overtone of something beyond just tourism, you know, skin color, for example, you know, or revolutionary green. There's a kind of double meaning or a triple meaning to some of the messages we are giving out. And then we did we thought like the ultimate tourism campaign where, you know, people come to India and don't go back. So we started kind of celebrating them for some time. And these are the people who came to India and either doing business or actually helping us kind of develop our culture further. Then, you know, like in Cannes at the film festival, like on that complete street, we had this message which says location for hire, you know, meant only for the film crowd. This is something we did outside all the stations in London, which is taken the station names and kind of done our own kind of take on that. So now the point is that when you get a chance, like how do we kind of do that without losing Indianness, but same time make it like super contemporary? This is something we did to celebrate 60 years of India in New York. It was like a 1-month-long festival, beautifully executed, the public just loved it. So, I mean, now that is just government working with private sector. So the point is that when they are ready, I think it is for all of us to kind of partner and to do something really fantastic. This is another case in point where you can actually push for much better quality of work in terms of packaging, even Indian Air Force, you know. If you look at the graphic language now, which is like changing around the country now, which is all done out of our office. Now, look at this. We also have a film. This is done for recruitment. Can you play the film?
Sleep well, my mother. Sleep well, my father. Another beautiful dawn is on its way. Sleep well, my sister. Sleep well, my brother. There are still stars in the sky. Sleep well, my daughter. Sleep well, my son. May all your dreams be sweet. Sleep well, my motherland, while I watch over you from far above. I will let nothing come between me and all that I love.
So this one had a huge impact on recruitment, and they were like really, really happy, and we are now continuing to do better and better, not just campaign, but helping them talk to young people. This is another case where, we've been working with them for like almost last 10 years, and one of those beautiful iconic brands out of Chennai. And now this is one of those brands actually now gone from Chennai back to UK and all the European countries. That, it had come from UK originally, but if you see the new bikes and the new design and the new communication, it's one of those few brands. I heard someone talking about how come Indian brands don't go out. This is one of those brands who are ready to go, and it's going actually. So here again, the problem was like, when we look at it, this is how often marketeers and people like us market two-wheelers. It's kind of this Bollywood cliche and all that. We are like, but Royal Enfield is such an iconic brand, and it actually comes from Chennai. It doesn't come from these spaces. How do we stay really close to what we are, but at the same time stay really contemporary and push the brand forward? So this is one of the first few pieces of work we've done. Some guys will never get it. This is just a stock photography we bought from someone and just put this line there. Similarly, like, we've been actually shooting people who are real bikers with the real details and who are like really proud. This chap in Rajasthan, this is how he dressed and this is how he rides his bike, and it's not even dressed up. It's just a simple documentary kind of thing. And a couple of years back, we did a film to kind of just tell everyone, this is what Royal Enfield is all about. We are not trying to be Harley Davidson or trying to be a Japanese bike. Can you just play the film? last year we launched this bike called the Continental GT. It's fully designed and developed in Chennai. It's a beautiful bike, but it's got like so much cultural reference when it comes to music, fashion, street cred, everything from the 60s of London. And that culture is still alive in a place called Ace Cafe in outside London, outside North London. So here, while it's talking to like really small number of people, but those people are very, very important because they understand the culture, and the culture, that's how culture is built. Like it starts with a small group of people and it just kind of grows big. So what we did was we stayed really close to those, whatever, 100, 200 people, and we've seen it kind of growing over a period of time. So there's a lot of kind of imagery and a lot of documentaries we have done. I will not go through so much of the work because we don't have time, but there's a sort of a film, please. There's a sort of music video we have done, kind of to show what that culture is, which is, can you play the film? Which is this bunch of bikers going from Ace Cafe and coming down to Madras Cafe across all the cafes around. Royal Enfield's kind of brand vibe, look what's happening to the parent company. Indigo, one of our favorite kind of brands, which we were lucky enough to kind of start from -1 year. So of course we started with creating the logo and the dotted plane and things like that. But this was the main point for us, like just before our launch, there was this competition between, we have changed, and someone is like, we made them change, someone is like, we made them change. They're like, who really cares, And then there was this. Huge respect for Captain Nair, but you don't have to do this, Which is, he bought this expensive plane and told us, like, you are all like, poor people, now you can fly cheap and I make you feel really cheap. As a reminder, we even put the common man on the plane, saying that, you're like a poor bastard, like. So we are like, so we said we will not get into this game. Only thing cheap about Indigo will be the ticket. Everything else will feel normal, will be clean, will be beautiful, So that does not take too much money, but it takes actually a little bit of creative thinking from both sides. We were like really lucky to have people like Rahul Bhatia as a kind of partner to work with. We were sitting in Toulouse, fixing every little details of this plane. The point is, it is actually doable. If we can do it, most people can do it. That's the whole point. So anyway, we just kind of, I'll just run you through all the experience. Like there's not a single thing we left without designing or having a great message for people. So we did this for kind of 2-3 years and nice messaging, like Indigo to Happiness for Goa flight. This got us in a little bit of trouble with, some people. They're like, what's the other way, seat width. Then other thing we really focused was on packaging and creating great food. Like every sandwich and like every little thing goes on the plane. It's been tasted by us and the Indigo management team for the longest time. Every 3 months we used to kind of rejig the whole thing. And it's like, it's doing really, really well, This is something we did recently to kind of, we were thinking, we need to do something with our food now because it's getting a little boring. How do we make it, can you play the film? How do we make it more exciting? So we did a little thing in few aircraft, like on few services to see what is that, something we can do. Anyway, all these things are on the plane now. If any of you are flying, of course. Then, I'll also show you a couple of the films we have done in the last, about 3-4 years. One, can you just play this film? Sorry about that. That was my mistake. Anyway, so we thought, no one is really noticing it, but it's been like heavily reviewed and, praised by media and, around the world and social media, of course. People are using it for all kind of funny things. Look at this, this was wallpaper, editor's choice for a couple of weeks. And then other thing we do is actually the catalog, which is like great piece of reading for a lot of the people because there's no magazine or TV on it. And the point is like all these things, every little thing, even the uniform, everything is designed beautifully by specialists, and the pilot's uniform, for example, is like heavily kind of celebrated. Now, look at this. They are in the most glamorous traveler list in Continental Traveler. Now, considering this is like a low-cost carrier, I think the Indigo management has done a fantastic job by, without doing too much, able to do like very beautiful, simple things. This was another campaign we did a couple of years back. The one other thing Indigo always did was like make sure they always take off and land on time, except for some few mistakes here and there. So we actually had a manifesto which runs in all the offices, and everyone really believes in it. And then we said, like, how do we kind of celebrate it and put it out there? So obviously, like, we are an agency, we went and made a film. Can you play the film? The thing about this film, though, is that when the crew saw the film, they wanted uniform like that, and we had to actually commission one of the designers to kind of do uniforms like that. That's how the new uniform actually came about. Of course, it was like, hugely talked about in the international press, and then we did the whole campaign around that. Now, if you go to the website, it's always like there's a time ticking. Now, this has become like part of the culture now, like just making sure the plane is clean, the loops are clean, and the plane takes off on time and land on time. It is just, it's not just an ad, actually. And then, like again, like talking about brands going international, this is one of the few brands which is like homemade in India, in Gurgaon, and then flying international. So when we started flying out, we said, let's do a little celebration, and we made a film. Can you play the film? So, like obviously, like Indigo is doing really well, and they got like, if you see today's paper, they got 170 new planes, and it's pretty much repositioned business class traveling, which is like done with a lot of quality. And I mean, for me, the important thing is just it's always clean, and it's always very smart. It doesn't feel like a low cost carrier. This is like just a couple of slides, but this is something I want to talk about, which is this Biennale, which is like a big art festival happened in Kochi in 2012. This was a collaboration between a couple of artists and the government of Kerala. This really helped, like all the culture and everything we talked about so many years. We didn't have a Biennale or something of that quality till like 2 years back, and we had like artists from around the world, like some 88 artists, and millions of people came to see that. Google never had done anything outside museums when it comes to the kind of culture mapping. This is the first time they've done something in a city, actually. But if you look at the report and the numbers, we used to get almost like 10,000 people every day. So the point is, like, if you build it, people will come. And this is like a small initiative, the kind of perfect thing of like how private sector, government, and bunch of artists can do. This is like a beautiful thing, like if you guys are free, come, like, on 12th December we're opening the second edition of the Biennale. It's fantastic, actually. Never get a chance like this to see museum quality, art and culture in our own city, in our own country, actually. This is I think for me, or even for the company, one of the most important projects we've been commissioned to do by the Department of Industries, something called Make in India, which the Prime Minister launched a few weeks back. But here the whole thing was, when we were asked to kind of do this, we were like wondering, like, what is that we can do, like, and how do we now make it look like it's not just an industrial thing, and it's not just a manufacturing and a foreign investment drive from government. How do we kind of package it? How do we make it like really beyond what it is? And so we had many ideas, invest in India and invest with an I, and taking on from Incredible India. And the interesting thing is, like, here again, it is the same officer who launched Incredible India who's part of this. And we kind of discussed, we need to make it much bigger than Incredible India, like, because like a lot of pressure on us, So we had many ideas, and finally, like, when I told him, actually the idea is Make in India, just replace made by make. Everyone is like, it sounds kind of wrong English. We are like, doesn't matter what it is. If it's packaged well, people will find it exciting, and how do we do that? So the after the Make in India was kind of bought in, the main struggle was what is the symbol we will do. So we originally we were working with an elephant, and then elephant got into people start thinking, oh, it's political, this, that, the other. Then, of course, India, so we were talking about tiger. Now, I was very much against tiger because, tiger's tiger. But one thing we were all kind of overlooking was, look at our own passport. We had our strongest symbol ever was the Ashoka. So we said, why not go back and, kind of rejig that? That'll become the strongest symbol ever. And then, when you put the industrial wheel, it just changes everything. So that's how Make in India was born, and then, of course, then the Prime Minister launched it. So it just got into a different level of excitement. So this is where it started from. We said we got this strong lion, and we got this wheel of progress. If we mix these two things, we'll have the most beautiful symbol. Which goes something beyond manufacturing, beyond industrialization, beyond FDI. So can you play the film? This was part of the presentation in Vigyan Bhavan. I'm just showing this to show even when many ministries, Prime Minister's office and Industrial Ministry and Home Ministry, the whole world was involved. But still, if you see the presentation, it was done really slick. It does not feel like it is typical of a government presentation or a typical Indian brand trying to go out. So it's been done really, really well. So this is just to kind of... So there's a lot of work which has already been done, but we're seeing this as just a launch. There's a lot of work for us and the ministry to do. If you go to, these are all different lions, and this was our kind of print ad which kind of launched the idea into the world. All of us are super busy doing. Can you play this film also like this? But and yeah, so this was of course the launch, and then now because of so much press, there's so much pressure on us and the ministry to kind of now do the kind of next level. So I mean, I guess this is end of my kind of blah blah blah, and so yeah, so for us to build this iconic brand, this is the three things we kind of try and stick very, very seriously. And when that doesn't happen, even with the right teams or right framework, things always fall apart. This is just out of many brands we work on, just these 3-4 other ones we can actually talk with pride, I guess, So that's about it. I guess, I hope I didn't put you to sleep, especially after this heavy lunch. Thank you.
Well, that was some phenomenal work that we got to see. Thank you so much, sir. But I'm going to throw the floor open for questions, if any. We have room for 2 questions. You may please raise your hands, and you could pass on the mic.
No difficult questions.
Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh, great. Oh.
Hi.
Hi.
What I wanted to ask you is that how important is it that the company that hires you should have that, should feel that it's important, that design is important.
Yeah.
Because I think whatever I saw, like especially Indigo, they felt it was important.
Yeah.
It's not about the money. I don't think design is ever about money.
No.
It's about the people who make the decisions thinking that yes, this is something that we should do, this is important to us.
Right.
So how important is that, when you've got to come up with a design?
I think, more than thinking design is important, I think the important thing is to, I think, for us, decide what is that thing you really want to stand for. Design is design is much later. But then what kind of design? Then comes the next round. I think the most important thing is to figure out together, or like you already know, and then you can come and tell us, like, this is the kind of company I want to build, and this is the kind of brand I want to be known as, Like you could just you can just be like, if you ask me like what kind of company we are, or if you ask me what is it I want to do, I just want to clean things up. That's it. So if you tell clearly like what's that one thing you really want to do as a brand, like if you ask Indigo, that's all they want to do. They want to make it all clean. They want to just perform perfectly. They're not your friend. They're not your enemy. They're just there to do the job. And I think once you have that level of clarity, life becomes much easier for people like us. Otherwise, it becomes a kind of experiment, I guess.
And I think another thing that was important in Indigo is that you did everything, 360 degrees. I think that's important.
You could say that, yeah.
Not just one little bit here and one
Yeah.
little bit there. That's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, hello?
Hi.
Yeah. My question is that what kind of customer insights do you try and get
Yeah.
before, while sitting on any particular product or brand,
Yeah.
before deciding on the treatment and the creative strategy
Yeah.
you want to go for?
See, I think for us, of course, we don't actually do too much research. We pretty much drive gut feel. I believe if you build Taj Mahal, people will come. And make sure, that's why the first piece is that you got to decide as a brand what is that you will stand for. Otherwise, chances are that your customers, like very often they don't know like what they really want. You just need to give them something new, and then if it's like good enough, people will come. Of course, we can't completely ignore customers, but very often many brands fail because they start with customers and they start doing like some weird things, after like 30 years of brand, and finally you realize brand actually doesn't stand for much,
And just one more thing.
Yeah.
What do you significantly believe in doing research and making decisions, marketing decisions on that?
No.
Why?
Because research will never tell you anything new, unless it is researching on, I don't know, some medical products or something. If it's like a field-based thing, research will never tell you. Research will never give us an Apple. Research will never give us new Nike shoes. That's my belief, my personal belief, because I just think research just wastes a lot of time. I know, sorry about that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we'll have to call it a wrap to the Q&A round. But can we have a huge round of applause for some radically new perspectives there from Mr. Sunil? And may I please invite Mr. Deepak Lamba to please come on stage and present a small token of gratitude to Mr. V. Sunil.